the ocean, a world as foreign as outer space. Few people ever experience it beneath the surface, or the amazing life that lives within it.
Our philosophy of exploration for the benefit of the environment has been our guiding light, our team's goal on this expedition.
What I would love to be able to show the audience is a true love, a spirit for the ocean. That would be great. Show them Bill's feelings about the ocean.
This story is about a group of people brought together by their feelings for the ocean and the remarkable journey they shared.
I want people to have a better awareness of our environment, specifically the ocean and how delicate it is.
For all of us, the goal was to develop a new kind of relationship with the sea.
I want to share with people the world my spirit lives in. It's an incredible realm.
The heart of the experience was our interaction, one-on-one with wild ocean creatures.
It's important to me that my work reflect, the energies of this group and the experiences of this adventure. And I want very much for any audience watching this film to experience what we experience.
Those big guys kind of scare me.
We haven't gotten too close to him yet. Think we should try to get close to him?
I want the audience to enjoy the experience. I mean, plain and simply, I want them to feel like they're there and that they understand what we're trying to achieve.
Our journey began with this man, Bill Kreutzmann. Now, he's an adventurer. For 3 decades, he has channeled his passion for adventure into his work as a drummer in a rock and roll band, the Grateful Dead. This phenomenally successful band is first and foremost a partnership of kindred spirits, a unique artistic collaboration that has defied fashion and succeeded on its own terms.
We were real tight. We started out in the Haight-Ashbury. We all lived in a giant house for a while, 710 Ashbury. And that was a guess. And we all shared everything from whatever to whatever. And we played music, and we got better and better. We went through all kinds of life stuff. We went through a lot of challenges. And now here we are, this many years later, as the Grateful Dead, and we're all older, and we're all doing separate things. We get together, we meet on stage, and we play. This, to me, is a new group like that.
Bill Kreutzmann has long had a dream to experience and express the spirit of the ocean in his life and in his music. Recently, he formed a new kind of team, a group of adventurers and fellow ocean spirits that, like his musical partners, would share his quest for a new relationship with the sea. It's Billy's dream to capture and express the ocean spirit in his music and in his life. That's me, Wes Skiles. I'm a filmmaker who came to know Billy Kreutzmann while showing him my backyard diving playground in north central Florida.
You're going to be really surprised. It opens up into gigantic, beautiful rooms and water coursing through a labyrinth of passageways. So you want to go down into the cavern and look at it?
Yeah, it'd be fun to dive that. It's amazing that little opening right there will let us go into such big areas.
It was here, deep within the underwater caverns of Florida, that we discovered our common passion for exploring the unknown. Soon, Billy came to share with me and my filmmaking partners, Jeffrey Haupt and Dan Malone, his dream to film a remote group of Pacific islands. After diving, I was delighted to see Billy and Jeff connect musically.
Don't get there yet, don't get there yet. Go back south.
Drumming and the whole rhythm of music is the foundation that we all live by. We tend to forget about it, but to play with Billy Kreutzmann and to be part of his, adventure and to make a contribution is a great thrill.
In Mendocino, California, we met up with a couple of Billy's surfing and diving partners. Each have unique skills and insights that add to our team. Tab Vadon, a marine naturalist, expert diver, and leader of kayak expeditions in Northern California. And Daryl Reno, a craftsman, Tai Chi master, and dive instructor. Both became friends with Billy not because of his fame or status as a musician, but through a shared love for the ocean. With the team complete, we established the goals of a journey that would take us 1,600 miles south from San Francisco to the remote islands of the Revillagigedos.
I think if I could only do one thing on this trip, I'd really love to have shark encounters. That would be the most important thing to me. Whether they be white sharks, hammerheads, whale sharks, tiger sharks, anything will do. I just would love to be on a one-on-one situation with one of those types of sharks.
I want the audience to come away with a better connection to the ocean also, and feel that there is something that they can do no matter where they're living that can help us keep this a cleaner place. It's a very delicately balanced system that needs more attention than it's been getting.
My biggest challenge in this is going to be to open myself and my world to anyone that wants to look at it, I guess.
I really want to swim with a manta, to fly with a manta, not to touch it, but to be with it and to feel its fluidity. The most fluid and sensual animals that I've ever witnessed.
I love the sound of whales. Being a musician, I just love the way they sing to each other and what it means to them, you know, and I think that I can feel some of that. And if I could be in the water with those animals and feel and hear their song, I know that I can soar.
I'm going to film a journey about 5 different people with different goals and different challenges, and it's something that we can't predict how it's going to be or what's going to happen. Sailing out beneath the Golden Gate Bridge, we embarked upon a 6-week journey aboard the Argosy Venture that would forever change our lives. We departed sharing a common desire to embrace the marine environment and its creatures with open hearts and open minds. Our first magical encounter occurred on the way to the Channel Islands. For Tab, it was a chance to reach out to the very creatures which he felt such a kindred relationship. Not simply to see them, but to physically be with them and to touch them. To our amazement and delight, those dolphins responded with apparent approval, rolling over, looking up at Tab, whistling, and playing all the time. I couldn't help but feel that we had just found our perfect guides. The dolphins led us southward to the Channel Islands, over 200 miles south of San Francisco and 30 miles off the coast of Santa Barbara. It was here we hoped to explore the beauty and secrets of a California kelp forest. Just off Anacapa Island, we found just such a forest in which to free dive.
Scuba diving is a novelty, and it's great. It's an adventure. It's like you get to be a spaceman for a little while. But I'm not one of the creatures of the ocean. I'm just something that's figured out a way to be there. As a freediver, I don't feel any limitations. I feel I'm there forever. The world that I go to when I free dive is the best world that I know. constant pulse of breath that marks the passing of time on land is suspended in a breath-hold dive. Your life as an air-breathing animal is left behind as you glide effortlessly down through the ocean's blue tissues. It absorbs you and you become one. And as you return to the surface and make another dive, it becomes a rhythmic meditation that slowly dissolves all your ties to your human reality.
Then, tragically, a terrible accident happened. Tab drowned freediving alone. Apparently, he became too absorbed with his world and took it too far. We're devastated by Tab's loss, but also saddened that he ignored our need to dive as a team member and to stay together. His desire for a solitary experience had cost him his life in an accident that should have never happened. Not at all sure of the fate of our trip, we returned to the mainland to grieve with Tab's family.
He thought of himself as an ambassador from the ocean, of the critters in the ocean, not the other way around, not an ambassador of humans to the ocean beings, but himself as being an ocean being and being an ambassador to us. And he's instilled that in me to watch that very carefully now when we're on dives and we go out. Now I'm going to be looking for that energy. I hope we fulfill his mission, you know. I hope we get the feeling that we fulfill his mission, that what he wanted to convey, we'd get to do it for him, and how lucky we are to get to be the messengers for him.
Tab left a very important part of himself with me in appreciating life, the sea, adventure, search for tomorrow. He was a very spiritual man. And it was really nice to see him open up and become happy on this boat. And I really feel that his spirit is at peace and would want us to move on. It was not easy to decide to move on, but it is necessary.
We did go on, searching for the perfect balance of true interaction with marine life. We wanted to swim freely with the creatures of the sea. Arriving in Mexican waters, we entered the port town of Ensenada, Mexico. The sight of this multi-million-dollar fishing fleet and the knowledge that their activities represent only a fraction of the impact being felt worldwide reminds us that a primary focus of this expedition must be to educate. For us, the trip through the market represented a tantalizing, mouth-watering view of a wonderful potpourri of seafood. The reality is that the methods used to catch this seafood is taking a heavy toll on the delicate balance of life in the sea. After Ensenada, we headed southward to the small islands of San Benito, 40 miles off the Baja coast. Here, Billy and Jeffrey went to shore to experience first-hand encounters with elephant seals and sea lions.
I enjoy sharing my experiences with people. And as a sound recordist and a photographer, the greatest reward is to have an audience experience these things with me.
On land, the northern elephant seal appears awkward and lethargic. In reality, they are some of the most impressive mammals on the planet. They can dive over 5,000 feet and for more than 30 minutes for fish and squid.
Hey, San Benito, elephant seal hunting. Not hunting, we're just watching. We're gonna have fun though.
Not long ago, they were hunted almost to extinction, but international bans on seal hunting have allowed them to make a strong comeback. This proves, as a global community, when we make appropriate decisions, we can have a positive impact.
BK is going to walk around and try and sneak up on them. Now, I don't think he's going to be sneaking up on anything, but if they don't see him, he might be able to get close enough to be on camera.
Billy is able to get close enough to experience the elephant seals without disturbing the herd. We celebrate this encounter as a good first step towards our goal of non-intrusive interactions.
Well, let's see if the friends are here today. Let's stop the motor.
Hey guys! Hey! In a minute, there'll be just dozens of them together, big old huge groups, and they all huddle together, they all little heads pop up, and they all look at you. Then you go underwater, they all disappear, and then they all come right back up. So cool.
The sea lion experience allowed us to get in the water and play out our roles as friends of the ocean community. The juvenile California sea lions were the perfect companions. They seemed genuinely happy to have this strange and rather awkward company join them for some play.
They give me my energy back, is what they do. It's great to be alive today.
After an all too short experience, we move on towards the Revillagigedo Islands. Captain Belmont and the crew maintain a 24-hour watch, keeping an eye on our course and the constant storms forming in the North Pacific.
Well, perfect time to hang out and read, have a beer, enjoy the sun.
Our journey so far has taken us over 800 miles, yet we still have another 550 miles to go. On this leg of the journey, we will leave the relative comfort of the coastline and head out into open ocean. We seem to be suspended in time as we travel for days on end towards our ultimate goal. I think at this point we all began to fear that we wouldn't be given ample time to be with the creatures we so desperately wanted to see.
Where's that from Billy's cabin?
Isolated, 300 miles off the tip of Mexico's Baja Peninsula and equally as far from our destination, we suddenly lost steering control of the Argosy Venture.
Captain says we got a broken cable, Randy.
Okay, I get the tiller out.
I was starting to experience a little fear out here until I saw the handheld tiller come out. It's really hard to get where you're going if you can't steer.
1,000 miles into our journey, the last thing we needed was a broken steering cable. This setback posed the very real possibility that we may have to turn away from the islands and head back to the Baja coast.
Exercise. It's connected to that. What is that?
If you take it off, it won't be.
The steering shaft. The steering shaft drives that.
So the steering, okay, so we have to figure out a way to attach something to this piece of cable here that can wrap around there.
Right.
Cable?
At the end.
It is agreed that we can fix the steering if we borrow a part of the main sail halyard and rethread it into the gear system.
You can see the cable's a little bit smaller, but we hope that's gonna work. That's it. All right.
How does it look down there?
It looks fine.
After hours of hot, painful work beneath the decks and rolling seas, we managed to fix the cable well enough to get the captain's approval to carry on. Our endless travel in open seas has carried us over 400 miles. The sense that we're never going to get there starts to give way as we near the remote island group. At last, we finally sighted the island of San Benedicto, the northernmost island of the Riviera group. It is here, via a special permit from the Mexican government, that we plan to explore and film the islands and their underwater inhabitants. The hardship and boredom of the long journey now seemed insignificant. Certainly, there could be no more beautiful sight than the Argosy Venture at the base of a volcano that formed part of this incredible island in 1952. Unstoppable is the word that best describes the team's desire to get started with the actual experience of exploring the island of San Benedicto.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah, let's get the show on the road. After a day in the deep blue sea, there ain't no place that I'd rather be.
Our plan is to systematically circumnavigate the island in hope of encountering large pelagic marine creatures. We entered a world that no words can describe. It's simply a feeling that you're out there on the edge of an unexplored world. Not able to stay out of the water, the team picked an area that looked good for exploring. We discovered a wondrous world seldom seen by divers. Without the noise caused by the bubbles of conventional diving equipment, the team glided quietly among the myriad of life within the sea. Our choice to approach the environment by freediving was rewarded by the curious behavior of this ahi jack. Out of the blue appeared an enormous shape, the fabled giant manta ray. Diving down, Billy reached out to make contact. As if the manta sensed Billy was of no threat, it slowed its graceful motion and rolled over, exposing its underside. Billy placed his hand gently upon its belly. The slipstream created by this gentle creature pulled Billy on an exhilarating ride, which ended all too soon. The manta below caught my attention. Aware that his new friend was no longer with him, the giant manta gracefully laid back, peering upward towards the surface, as if to say to Billy, "Where did you go? Why did you leave? Are you a friend? Did you have something to share?" This magnificent display of curiosity continued for almost a minute. Finally, the manta seemed to acknowledge that, for now, the visit was over. Returning to the depths, Billy discovered his new friend had disappeared. Peering into the void, he had to wonder if that kind of experience would ever happen again. Continuing to work our way around the island, we discovered one of the most wonderful phenomena ever witnessed. A group of mantas flying in formation along a flotsam line formed by colliding currents. The manta rays are harmless members of the shark family. They had gathered here to feed on microorganisms.
It was a total experience. I completely got out of myself. I got completely out of the thing of having to ride a manta and just to be in the experience of it. And then just for the most joyous trip, the very last one was right on the surface and it just bubbled up underneath me, just really calm and cool, and just let me lay right on its back. And it just took me for a complete surface ride. It was great today.
Talk about interacting with nature and just watching these agile creatures cruise through the water. Just, man, I was really envious.
I was really slow to touch them, and I finally reached down this one time and decided to give it a little scratch. And I actually started scratching and I could feel it react and say, "Whoa, this feels good." And I stopped for a second and the whole manta just stopped dead in the water, and I scratched it again and I felt it go, "Yeah." And I realized at that point that this scratching sensation they really liked. And that was a real experience for me to realize that, oh yeah, one way of having an interaction with these creatures is do something they dig.
You know, my whole life I've dreamed about swimming with mantas, and today I lived my dreams. It was the greatest experience of my life. It's just so rewarding to be able to live what you've dreamed about. Since I was 10 years old, I've dreamed about this, and I did it today.
These are organic spaceships. They're not just entities in the sea. These are graceful beings, and they have a special place.
Unable to resist the temptation to film the summit of Benedicto, Jeffrey and I hatched a plan to go ashore. San Benedicto, a volcanic island, rises abruptly 10,000 feet above the ocean floor.
All right, look at this.
I can't believe it. So we've been looking at this thing from the boat for days now, saying we've got to climb this thing. I mean, it's so beautiful. It looks like it's got all these perfect routes. But come on over here and check this out.
It's ash. I mean, ash, literally. It has this little tiny crust on the outside, and you touch it, look at this. It's lighter than air. We'd have never made it up there. Would we have made it up there?
No, we would have never made it up there. Don't try climbing an ash mountain.
Look at this. This is rock. It's pumice rock. I don't believe it. It's lighter. It's like air. You step right through it. I thought I was walking on solid ground. I can't imagine it.
This is the stuff that people like to rub their skin with, right?
Yeah, you can use it for manicures and...
Hey, look down there, Jeff. They're the camera guys.
Yeah, but look at this. The lava spewed out of this mountain and formed this huge delta. Wow. So we've been anchored next to this delta, this huge lava flow. We decided to walk down here, and it's just unbelievable. It's such a contrast to the rest of the island. You have this ash mountain, this caldera, then you have this lava flow that's stacked up here, and then you have the wonderful, beautiful rocks in red and orange and green. This is just the complete island of contrast, and then in the sea, you have the beautiful mantas and the pelagics and the outrageous fish. Oh, this island is so spectacular. And this is all new. I mean, this actually blew out of the earth in 1952, and you can actually see it in the water. The rocks underwater have coral, which is new, and on the other side of the island, where the old caldera is, the coral is lush, and this island just has it all. It's fantastic.
Our time on Benedicto was too short. We left having made new friends we would never forget. We now headed south to the island of Socorro.
Let me check the radar.
12 miles. 16.
16. 2, 4, 8, 4, 8, 12. It's about 16 miles.
The captain doesn't know what to make of this fiasco on his bridge. Kind of being taken over by the film crew. I don't know if that's acceptable around here on the Argosy Venture.
As the sun set, we all wondered what awaited us on this mysterious island. With an elevation of over 3,200 feet, Isla Socorro is big enough to create its own weather. We traveled down the coast exploring breathtaking coves, caves, bays, and lagoons. Older, more green and alive than Benedicto, Socorro is the epitome of a deserted island fantasy. The water here is by far the clearest ocean water we'd ever seen. Just freediving to the depths of the boulder-strewn bottom was interesting because the water's so clear. With so much to see and do, we began to act like a pod of starved orcas, racing around, checking everything out. As we continue to explore new places, we began to notice that our approach as curious creatures of the sea was allowing us to engage our surroundings at a more sensitive level. We were beginning to see with eyes from the sea that each new life form, each hidden cove, cave, and reef are part of a much bigger and more important picture. These splendid realms beneath the sea exist as communities with families much like our own. Unfortunately, we've discovered thus far humanity seems mostly unwilling to acknowledge this important fact. Leaving behind the human characteristics of setting preconceived expectations, we were able to fully appreciate each new encounter. Working our way around the island, we discovered a series of natural pools, aquariums, which contain magnificent microcosms of life.
There's one energy that controls the rhythm of the entire universe. And being active with the ocean helps me connect with that rhythm. This was a magical, mystical place. A private ecological garden set aside. There's this wall, and it has about 8 inches of water, white water, where it slams you over this wall and pops you out into this aquarium, but you don't know what's on the other side yet because you're still in the white water. And when it all clears up, the water's as clear as the air. And there's this pristine aquarium waiting for you to enjoy. And you can really relate to the ecosystem in this area. It was very special. And the creatures don't recognize you as something to fear, so they don't shun you. This fish in it was like God pulled them out and painted them and put them back for us to enjoy. This place is proof that there's a God, because this type of thing just doesn't happen by chance. Thank you.
Passing a point on the east side of the island, we discovered an uprising of deep oceanic water. The collision of cold water and tropical water created a powerful current that attracted large schools of pelagic life forms. In the distance, Duffer's dream forms into a reality. A school of scalloped hammerhead sharks. Big ones, too.
The great part about this whole encounter was, you know, there was no blood, there was no chumming the sharks or anything like that. You were just interacting with them, you know. It was really cool. It was a great encounter, one-on-one, kind of they're cruising by you and they'd look at you and they'd kind of swim around you and you're looking at them, and it was just like, you know, really hitting them straight on. It was really great, you know. Definitely helped right there.
Hey, we had a great dive at Cabo Pierce. The Reviajeros, it's time to go, but we sure passed the bon ton.
During our travel homeward, we spotted a series of white misted spouts. Moving closer, we identified a pod of sperm whales. At first, it appeared to be only a few whales, but then the numbers began to grow as whales continued to surface from their deep dives. The sperm whale, which grows up to 65 feet in length and 65 tons, is certainly the mightiest whale of the ocean. We had no idea how this giant pod of sperm whales would react to our presence. From the distance, huge shapes form in front of our vision. Unlike most whales that feed on plankton and krill, the sperm whale is the largest carnivorous toothed whale on the planet. They dive up to 5,000 feet for over an hour, where they battle with giant squids, some which reach up to 40 feet in length. We were awed at the powerful sense of awareness that these massive leviathans displayed at our presence. You could actually feel their sonar pulses resonate through your body, and at times they would look directly at us. It was truly a life-changing experience. We also felt privileged to be with another species that has successfully returned from near extinction. This reality gives us hope for future issues that face our planet's oceans.
As beautiful as this is, there are people in the world who are trying to wipe it out, and they're taken away from this whole thing.
Unbelievably, we came to learn that commercial fishing vessels had come to Isla San Benedicto and netted and harpooned many of the same mannas we had come to know and love.
It's absolutely not fair that man treats the ocean like this. These places are fantastic, and they're out there in the middle of nowhere, and you think, God, it's got the best sea life in the world, so plentiful, but yet the man has gotten to this area, and it has been fished, and as you take away the sharks, you're taking the predators away, and little by little, everything dies off. It's such a sad story.
We're hurting the fisheries right now so much by the type of fishing we're doing, purse seining, killing the dolphins.
Fish, the kind like snappers and groupers, they have millions of eggs in them. But sharks have 1, 2 babies, maybe once, twice, every 2 or 3 years. There were 20,000 pounds of shark fins, not sharks, shark fins taken from those islands. This film can make people realize that we have to watch what we're doing. And the next time you're at a grocery store, don't get shark.
We have learned through examples like the elephant seals and sperm whales that humans can play the essential role in helping maintain ocean species. Our team's hope is that by experiencing this journey with us, that you too have come to share our love and fascination with the creatures of our sea. Remember, your awareness of the ocean's environment can play an important role in protecting it.
We need to make a connection with the sea. We have to stop raping it. We have to find harmony with the sea.
For myself, I want to share with the audience the love I have for the creatures that we got to be with. And more importantly, how we can interact with them and not have to feed them or chum them or drag on them, that we could ride manas real calmly and peacefully.
There can be no better way to sum up the inspiration we all receive from our experience than to see our friend Billy back home in control of the beat that is the Grateful Dead. His fellow band members and fans agree that Billy's spirit and sense of rhythm have never been better. From new music, acknowledging our responsibility as a human race, to supporting environmental groups and causes, Bill Kreutzmann and the Grateful Dead were directly influenced by a journey that transcended boundaries we never realized existed.
Jack Starr, the preacher told, let his body die.